Hey, this is Justin with DayTradeTheMarkets.com on Tuesday, June 24th, 2014. Today was a really fascinating day in the markets, in a lot of different markets. I'm going to look at the E-mini S&P today on a 1-minute chart and do kind of now that the day's closed, do a bar-by-bar replay and kind of talk about the different decision points throughout the day, how we put the bigger picture into context, and especially how we use what we call level 3 extreme aggression bars to help guide us as to what's going on in the market. Now, it was especially important today as this was a pretty wild day. So I thought I'd just do a replay. Let me get this thing going, and I'll do it on fast speed so that we can get through this. But heading into this day here, let me pause it and kind of set the stage. Heading into the day, our bigger picture bias is up, clearly. Okay, we're near all-time highs, and we really want to monitor this area between about 55.50 and 50 here as kind of a 2-day consolidation to see if we can, we just kind of paused here over the last 2 days. Let's see if we can break one way or the other and see what happens. The lines here and here are the overnight high and low, the overnight range, and the this line here at 55.50 is also the all-time high in the regular trading hours. This line up here at 59.75 is we had a high that was a little bit all-time high in the overnight session a few days ago. So, nothing magical about these levels. These are pretty simple levels on this day. But we just want to kind of monitor how do we do around all-time highs, if we can push forward, or will we not break out of this consolidation, and just kind of see what happens. So it's about a little before 10 o'clock here on this replay that I'm doing. You can see the first thing we've done here is we've tested into the overnight high and attracted a little bit of selling. So nothing really to speak of. That's a level 2 or strong selling aggression off of the overnight high. So certainly it would be a very aggressive fade if you did that, but at least you have a little bit of information. We just kind of want to see, can we get through the overnight high, and what happens if we test around 50? We opened around 50, you can see. And what happens if we test around 55.50? Okay, so that's the first things that we're kind of looking at in here. Let me just kind of speed this replay up, and let's watch and see what develops. And now you can see our first, this is right around the news at 10 o'clock, our first, legitimate structure on the buy side. Let me pause this here. Our first legitimate structure on the buy side is this level 2 buying aggression bar right at the news, and you can see we had an inside level 2 selling aggression bar. So that's kind of a little mini battle that we have going on there. We want to see which side, can we break out one way or the other? And you can see that we do on the very next bar. We make new highs, and we pierce through this overnight high with this first level 3 or extreme buying aggression bar. That's that dark blue bar you see right there. These boxes here are what we call high velocity moves, which are just another way of saying that the market's pretty strong, showing some velocity to the upside. So all things are kind of in play here. And so at this point, we're breaking out of the overnight highs. We're doing so on a level 3 buying aggression bar. And so what we want to think about here is, do you want to get long, and then how aggressive do you want to be in doing so? Now, obviously, being on the long side makes sense with our bigger picture bias being up, and we've broken out with this level 3 extreme aggression. So you've got a couple of options. You can either get long just at the market right here, or you could wait for a pullback toward the 50% or even toward the low of that bar. It's a little more conservative. Or you could say, you know what, we're near this high at 55.50. I'm just going to kind of wait and see what happens there. Those are kind of your 3 options at this point, depending on your level of aggression. So let's keep it going here. We'll just kind of talk through this here. Let me speed this up, and I'll just pause it. Okay, so now we've got a situation where you've got another level 3 buying aggression bar here, right into this kind of key level, the regular trading hours all-time high, the high from the last 2 days. So it's showing us, generally speaking, this is an area that we would like to be thinking about getting long, kind of at the high of this first level 3 bar that had follow through, and toward the low where these kind of bars basically overlap right in this area. That's a really nice place to be looking to get long in a vacuum. Okay, now we were doing a live session with our members this morning. We were talking about this, but you had to be a little bit careful, getting long right into this level, because it's an area that has shown some resistance over the past couple of days. That's why I think it's so important to factor in the bigger picture and so what's going on in the past, and not just get too locked into what the chart is showing you right now. So we've got a bit of a conflict in that we have some really strong buying that the market has shown us. but it's right into this resistance. So we want to kind of see what happens here. And this is setting up kind of an interesting scenario that I'll let play out here for a moment. And let me just let this go, and then I'll pause it here. So what you can see here, let me pause it here, is obviously there are some traders that are coming in very aggressively and they're trying to fade this level, this 55.50 level that's been the high the last couple of days, okay? And so we have a bit of a conflict because, again, in a vacuum, this is a great spot to be looking to get long. However, you have to use a little bit of caution here because you can see that people are coming in and trying to cap this market. Selling's coming in, the market's decelerating. And so what we talked about in our session this morning is probably the most conservative way to look at this is to think about it. Think about if you were an aggressive short right here. If you're going to have a pretty tight stop, and if you get this high taken out, it's probably going to force you to get stopped out. Collectively, this could really flush the market higher. So that's kind of what we were looking for in our session today. Is if these highs can get taken out, it's probably going to knock some stops off, and this thing is going to probably flush higher. So that's kind of what we were looking for at that time. So let's kind of let this play out. And again, just kind of thinking about what the collective mindset is of the market right now. We've got, obviously, we're testing all-time highs on the regular trading hours, but we have got some pretty aggressive shorts coming in to the market. So, okay, boom, looks like we're trying to flush these guys out, and we get a level 2 buying aggression bar. We come right back down to that high, and then you can see we really flush higher with the level 3 buying aggression. That's basically washed these people out that were aggressive. And now our next target we've got to be thinking about is to the true all-time highs that happened in the overnight session a few days ago. Can we get up here and test these? And then let's see what happened. You can see this market's on fire right now. We've got the level 3 buying that came in here. We flushed out these aggressive shorts. Now we've got these level 3 bars that have come in here. And we just want to monitor it. What can we do? Can we go make new highs? Can we take out 59.75? You can see that every time, let me just pause it here and make a note. You can see that every time we've had buying aggression, here's a level 2 buying, here's level 3, level 3, level 2, level 3, level 2, level 3. Okay, the green and the blue, respectively. Every time we've had buying aggression, we've either tested the low or just made new highs right away. Tested the low, make new highs, tested the low, make new highs, just make new highs, test the low, make new highs. Every time we've had a selling aggression bar since this started, you can see it's been rejected, okay? We rejected that selling. We've rejected these selling bars. We rejected this one. So that's that's showing us clearly bulls are in control. Every time sellers try to make a push, they're rejected. Every time buyers make a push, there's some follow through. Okay, so it's showing us we certainly wouldn't want to fight that, but we have to keep our eyes open around this level. Can we push through this and just go and make all-time new highs again, or will the market find a little bit of pause in this area? This is something we need to watch. At least that's your thinking at that moment in time. Okay, so let's play this again. Speed her up. Okay, so we'll just kind of watch. The market did slow down a bit at this time, but it's showing us, okay, we're starting to get a little bit of follow through on these selling bars. Nothing to write home about, but it's showing us the market's at least come to a pause. Okay, now we get an attempt to move higher at these new highs. You can see we make new highs, new all-time highs by a tick, but we don't have any follow through. We have a little bit of excess, and then boom, here's our first sign of any kind that some strong selling is coming in. Our first level 3 selling aggression bar. So you can see we had some pretty strong buying aggression to push it up to these all-time highs. Then it decelerates. Some selling starts to come in. We get a gray bar, so nothing really going on there. No buying that's being attracted here above 59.75, and then we get some extreme selling aggression that's coming in right at the lows of this bar. So this is a pretty key point, both from a longer term perspective and from our intraday perspective. What's going to happen here at this level? Which side's going to win this battle, so to speak? So that's something that in real time you're thinking about that. Okay, market's having a hard time pushing higher. Are these sellers, is this the opportunity that maybe these aggressive sellers that came in earlier, is this the opportunity that they're looking for? So we're just kind of monitoring the software and seeing what's going on, but that's the thought process that you're thinking about at that moment in time. okay, what's going to happen? Who's going to win this little mini battle here at these highs? I'll speed this up a bit. I'm at 50 times regular speed. Okay, a little more sellings creeping in, not having much follow through. That yellow zone that you just see popped up, that's typically going to be red for a resistance zone. Whoops. When it's yellow, it's saying, yeah, there is a lot of strength in this market. Be careful, it's not as strong of a resistance as normal. Okay, now here is another level 3 selling aggression bar that's just come in. Let me pause it. So you're saying, okay, it looks as if it doesn't mean necessarily that selling has taken over fully. We would still want to see this market be able to kind of take out this earlier buying in here, but it is showing us that at least we're two-sided and sellers are trying to step in at these all-time highs. Buyers had a hard time pushing it higher. It attracted some selling that's come in to try to take advantage of that vacuum, and now we're seeing some strong and extreme selling start to come into the market. Now you can see that in real time, this is just watching paint dry, but now that we're speeding it up, it's a little more interesting to see. We're around noon, 12:15 here, Eastern time, just in a 1-point range. But you can see buyers are having a hard time getting anything done. And the latest structure we have to work with is some selling aggression. So again, this is watching paint dry. Now it's 12:40, 12:45 or so Eastern time. But again, buyers are having a hard time. Okay, now our filter, you can see our filter just changed over. It's showing us that some pretty good selling is coming into this market. So we're at least two-sided. We want to be a little careful if we're going to be on the long side. And certainly it's still a bit aggressive to be on the short side, but it's showing us sellers are starting to take over this market. You can see that with this aggression. We had again, every time we had buying aggression, the buyers won and the sellers lost. Every time we had selling aggression. Now that's shifted. The buying aggression is rejected. The selling aggression is having some follow through. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense of just trying to stay on the right side of the market and make sense of what's going on. So let's speed this up again. Okay, more selling. So, at this point, we're looking, okay, can we get back below this 55.50? Oh, we did so on a level 3 selling aggression. This thing's really starting to show some pretty strong selling that's coming into this market. Some level 2 selling. At this point, you really have to say that sellers have taken over this market, at least in the short term, and now we want to see what can buyers do when we get back down to this support zone, okay? It really seems that buyers petered out up here. You can see that with the level 3 buying aggression that had a little bit of follow through but couldn't make the new highs. Then we have this selling aggression, extreme selling aggression that gets follow through. We test the highs of it and gets follow through. Test the highs of it, gets follow through. This one, we didn't even test the highs of it. It just got immediate follow through. That's telling us that it's really speeding up the selling aggression at least. Now we want to just ask ourselves, okay, toward the day's lows, toward this support zone, what can buyers do? And then what could they do around the 50 area? Okay, these are the couple questions we want to ask ourselves as we're looking at this, if we're looking at this in real time. Okay, more selling. Can we push through this support zone? Market's trying. We're getting some level 1 buying there. You can see there's at least a battle going on. Just like we had earlier in here, the buyers are trying to step in. Okay, now we're actually getting some buying that's coming into this market. Okay, so at least for the moment, the bulls are trying to hold where they started their rally from earlier in the day. They're trying to hold this support zone, and you can see that there is some aggressive buying that's coming into the market. So again, what are we thinking at this moment in time? Well, we're thinking, where's the last place that some strong selling came in? The start of this high velocity move. If the buyers can get back above here, then we've certainly got more of a two-sided action, again, with the buyers coming in. You see we had one-sided buying, more of a two-sided action. Now we've got some one-sided selling. Now the buyers are trying to make another push. Just auction theory. We're just kind of watching what's going on to see. And if these buyers can get through, can start to get a little follow through and get through that high velocity move, that would tell us, okay, buyers are starting to take back over. Until they can do that, though, we still have to say this market's a little bit more of a two-sided market. So we're testing that overnight high again. Can we get back inside of that as well? But you can see, even though we're in more of a down auction here, when we had this extreme buying aggression, we did rally 3 points or so. Now we're testing lows again, trying to push lower, but will buyers come in again? We've got a support zone. Okay, buyers are certainly trying to come in. So you can see we've got more of a two-sided market at this point, where buyers, the low of the day, where buyers came in earlier, buyers are at least trying to step in. Can they push this thing higher and take out some of the earlier selling, or will sellers really push this thing lower and make new lows for the day? Go look for the overnight lows, and here's looks to be our answer to this question. We've got, I don't know what's going on here. We've got new lows made on 2 level 3 bars in a row. Okay, that's very bearish. We obviously would want to be very careful with that. This zone right in here is what we call the sweet spot, where these 2 bars overlap. That's a good idea to potentially be looking for an aggressive short. Again, buyers have really failed up at these all-time highs. Now we've pushed on and made new lows. We've done so on extreme aggression, 2 in a row. That's kind of a sweet spot. Along with this 50 level, we're back below that. So that's a really, we talk about confluence where a lot of pieces come together. Our filter is dark red. That's not a bad spot to be trying to take a bite, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of what we're looking at there. What's going to happen when we test back up in that sweet spot around and around 50 would be the next thing we're thinking about. Or a little more conservative, you could wait for the market to test up into that 51. But this market's clearly being taken over by the bears at this moment. Okay, we're into that kind of that sweet spot that we were looking at from earlier. Oops. Right in here. Okay, new lows on extreme aggression. Now we're below the overnight lows. I mean, this market's just extremely bearish at this point. Now we're testing to our next level, 44. We bust through that with extreme selling aggression. Here's another extreme selling aggression bar. This market's showing a lot of weakness at this point. We're down below 44. So another, potential confluence type of a trade would be, again, where, these 2 bars basically overlap right in here and around that 44. Just like we had up here, we're now below the 50 level. We got 2 bars that are overlapping right in there. Pretty nice spot to be looking to get a short. Same idea right in there, okay? That's what we call our sweet spot trade, give or take. Now it's 3:15 Eastern. This market's, sold off some nearly 20 points since we failed at the highs. Okay, a little bit of buying, trying to come back into the market here around 3:30. It's at least showing us a pause in the down auction. Okay, that's interesting. Here's our first level 3 bar in a couple of hours made by buyers. You can see earlier we did have a bit of a rally after we had that, but we couldn't get above this high velocity move. We have kind of a very, very similar scenario down here where we've got the high velocity move up here around 43, but we do have some buying that's come into the market. So let's take a look at what happens there. And it's getting late in the day, so and it's been a very active day. So at this point, you're probably thinking about closing up shop anyway. But you can see we got a little bit of a rally off of this. Some buying did come into this market here. Getting toward the end, we came right up to that 44 again. That's the cash close. Got to be wary of level 3 bars on the cash close. Gets a little wild there. And here we're about to close the day. So again, I just kind of wanted to show a few things. I thought a replay might be a good way to look at that. Let me go ahead and stop this, and let's talk about kind of what we saw and what we can look for going forward. So again, we had some really strong buying that came in early. Some sellers tried to kind of stem that tide around this 55.50. They were flushed out. We went up to our next level around 60. You can see we failed to move higher. Selling started to come in, started to really accelerate. A bit of a pause here with some strong buying that came in, made new lows, sweet spot, more lows, sweet spot, and then some strong buying came in at the end. So what does this mean going forward? We're still near all-time highs, but this is kind of one of those days that you really want to keep an eye on over the next few days. Do we have some more follow-through lower? Could this be, a turning point in the market? We're still, if you look at a longer-term chart, we're still very bullish, but this is certainly one of those eye-opening days. We want to monitor around 29, and then below that, we want to monitor from a very long term or swing trading perspective, we want to monitor around 1891 or so. So, this is certainly one of those eye-opening days we want to monitor. Is this the start of a new selling wave? Has the market peaked out, at least in the short term? Certainly could be. So we want to monitor that, and could lead to at least there was some good action today finally after a few days of pretty slow market activity. So hopefully, if you're with me this long, I appreciate that. Hopefully you learned something. Hopefully you got a little bit better understanding of how this software works. And again, it works like that on any time frame, on any market. There was a lot of good opportunity in a lot of markets today. So hopefully that made sense. Let us know if you have any questions, and we'll talk soon. Thanks.